Thank you for watching that clip. My name is Nicholas Townsend Smith. I go by Nick. I'm the author of The Giants and the Smalls, The Adventure of Remy and Rid. I wrote this story back in 2009. I wrote it through hardships. It was a rough time in my life. I had just filed for bankruptcy. My house was being foreclosed on. I was working for my brother in Park City every day. I was driving 45 minutes in one direction and really feeling insignificant in my life. I remember seeing the homes on the hill and I thought, man, why are they living such giant lives while I'm living this small one? I remember listening to the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson, and I thought, man, I could write a book like this. But I had no premise for the book or what it should be about. It was a conversation with a coach and mentor out of Arizona, Steve Hardison, that really opened my eyes to what was possible around this story. In 2009, I remember going to a food bank, and somebody had arranged a call between me and him, and I didn't know when it was going to come. I just was expecting it. I was sitting in the parking lot of the food bank to go in and get food, and he called. And as I sat there, we sat and talked for about an hour. And I remember that I've never felt so heard in my life and so accepted where I was in my life. And so in this conversation, I remember asking this gentleman, Steve Hardison, can you? And before I could answer, or before I could ask the question, he answered and said yes. And I said, how can you answer that question and say yes if you don't even know what I'm going to ask you? And he said, there's nothing that you can ask me that's bigger than me. Either I can create it myself or I can enroll people to create it with me. But there's nothing outside of my reach. That really had me look at things a little differently. And while my life didn't change drastically, it did start to change. And as I would drive to work every day, I would record a story that started to come to mind. A story about giants and smalls, a story about the potential that each of us has to create anything we can imagine. And all of the stories that we tell ourselves of why we cannot and how we make ourselves feel small. This isn't a story about in-groups or out-groups. It's not a story about one person against another. It's about an internal journey that each of us takes to reach our giant potential. I created the giants and the smalls in the smallest part of my life. This was almost 12 years ago. And now my vision is beyond that. This book is all over the world. We have a huge group, a huge following of people that are calling themselves giants, speaking the language of giants and living into their giant potential every day. We have a TV show that we run and a radio show that inspires people into their greatness. Things I couldn't have even imagined back in 2009 at my lowest of lows. And now we are here in front of a worldwide audience of people calling themselves giants. I'm just blown away by it. And our vision is to impact 100 million lives globally. And we feel that one of the ways that could happen as a possibility is to have this book be made into a movie. And that's what we're asking you to do, is to help us in that vision. Whether you are the one that creates the movie or you know somebody that can, our ask of you is that you help us make that a reality. And so if you haven't read the book yet, I'm going to put a link at the end of this video for you so that you can check that out. Read the book in full, see what it means to you, and envision it as we've envisioned it, as a Pixar-style, Disney-style movie that inspires people into their greatness. Thanks for watching. Go make it a giant day.